All right, first up this morning, you see the FBI all over there on TV and movies, but do you ever wonder what those agents really do? What is it really like to work for the FBI?
The FBI is teaming up with the Marquette University Police Department to put on Future Law Enforcement Youth Academy. It's an overnight camp where students are chaperoned by sworn law enforcement and FBI employees. Joining us now to talk about the program is Lieutenant Jill Weisensel from Marquette PD and Special Agent Mike Sheen with the FBI Milwaukee Evidence Response Team. It's long titles there.
So, okay.
Welcome to the
then
morning.
they have some bodyguards.
And then we got some
back there.
Some viewers dressed in t-shirts behind them. No, I'm
Great
kidding.
to see you guys back there. It was fantastic.
Yep, protection. You needed protection to come here on the Morning Blend, right?
Yes, I brought the best.
Yeah.
Don't you have some guns on though?
Just one.
You got some weapons.
Some
What
guns.
are all the other things?
Well, we have, OC spray, pepper spray,
Oh, pepper spray.
the extra ammunition, baton, flashlight. 2 is 1, 1 is none.
I like.
Med
there you
gloves
go.
and handcuffs.
I love it. I have all
Yeah.
those things too, except instead of pepper spray, I have bear spray. Shoots further.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. It works.
So anyway, I fashion myself, in the law enforcement every once in a while. Just kidding. But there's a lot of people who do want to be a part, learn more about what you guys do, and this is a really cool program. How did it get started?
Well, we actually started it at the Marquette campus last year.
So it's new.
This is only the second year we've done it here in Milwaukee. There was one that started at Yale the year before that. So it's a very new program. We're the first one in the state to host this program here.
So cool. And the acronym that you use, is it FLEYA or do you say FLEYA?
We actually say FLEYA.
Oh, FLEYA.
FLEYA.
Okay. And it stands for Future Law Enforcement Youth Academy, which we just said a second ago. I think it's great that you do this program, and I wonder for kids who are able to experience it, what are some of the highlights?
Well, there are a lot of highlights. I mean, first of all, it gets them out of the regular classroom setting where they don't just learn about law enforcement. They get to go hands-on, which you're going to see here today. Highlights would include the Evidence Response Team Day, similar to this, getting to do PT with law enforcement agencies, collecting evidence. We do a lot of community outreach events as well, and that's pretty much it. They get out of the classroom and they get dirty.
That's
Yeah.
great. I like that. And
It's overnight.
Yes, it's a week-long camp. It's selective in that it's an application process, looking for people with a solid GPA, and community outreach background, sporting event background, and they're going to spend the week with us.
And the deadline is this Friday. Want to make sure we know we're going to give people information just a little bit on that application, but the deadline for it is this Friday, the 5th. I think it's wonderful that you in law enforcement, local police department work with the FBI, and that's probably a big part of what you do is that cooperative spirit in law enforcement.
Yes, exactly, and we're very grateful for our partnership with the FBI Milwaukee office, but the camp showcases not only local law enforcement, but how local law enforcement can work with state and federal agencies as well.
Very
Right.
cool. What kinds of things did you bring here today? Because it looks like we got some cool stuff that we might
I like
learn.
it.
I'll step in here. So what we've got is a couple of sorry, Jill. So what we've got is a couple of processes here, and maybe if we can have Julia step over here, we'll kind of demonstrate.
Oh
a
yeah,
couple
our
of
intern.
yeah.
I like
She's doing
it.
a great job.
She looks like she's in a spacesuit.
Yes. So she's displaying one of our finest Tyvek suits that we have, and essentially the Tyvek is meant to protect her from any sort of fluids or materials that are on a crime scene.
Looks
as
a
well
little
as-
Dexter-esque.
It's a little bit, as well as make sure she doesn't transfer any evidence over to the crime scene.
Okay.
So what we've
Of
got
her
here
own.
is a non-porous material that we've got a couple of latent fingerprints on, and we've got magnetic powder, which
Oh,
we're going to
cool.
apply to it to essentially enhance these prints. So Julia, if you would be so kind, what she's going to do
Okay.
is pick up
Oh,
the...
she already knows what she's doing.
We've kind of done a little dry
Whoa.
run through, but essentially
I've
you've
used
got
one of
a,
these to draw a face before. Have you
it's
seen those?
very
things?
similar. So essentially, instead of just
Oh,
a
look at
powder,
that.
it's actually
Oh.
metal filings inside of it.
Okay, so she's kind of dusting over it with that
Correct.
black
Correct. So
like
essentially
carbon.
the powder, it's a metal filing that
Yep.
essentially attracts and adheres to the latent
Okay,
print.
so now on a TV show, they take a piece of tape over this
Right.
and they peel it off.
Doing
Is
a
that
great-
what you really
are
do?
Watching some good shows.
I
so
am.
Absolutely, that's how
Lucifer.
we would lift that particular print. We're going to show a little bit different technique here in just a second.
Okay.
But what we've also done is we've got a block of wood, and we took a bolt and we basically compressed it into the wood. And what this is going to do is demonstrate essentially what a tool mark impression would look like on a piece of wood. So essentially
Oh,
it's
that's
blown into the wood, and what we're going to do is use this process, which is Accutrans, which is almost like a caulking gun.
But what would
this
that
up.
be from? Like, why would you?
Well,
why
as
would
an
you ever have
example, somebody would use a hammer, say, or a pry bar as far as entering somebody's residence, and
Okay.
we could use this, which essentially is going to be a silicone-based material, to lift up that tool mark impression, and hopefully, potentially, we could match that up with the tool later on. All right,
The
Julia?
tool used in the
Okay.
crime.
Right, exactly.
right.
All right.
Is Julia doing something here too?
Yes, she will be. If I get
Alright.
this, once I get this attached.
So what you're putting on there, it's sort of like a hot glue gun almost?
Right, correct.
Okay.
What's actually in it? What did you say?
So it's a silicone base
Like a
material.
Caulking.
Yep.
Like what
Yeah.
how you seal your windows,
Yeah.
but a little bit different.
Yep. There we go.
All right, there we
Almost thought we
go.
were going to have an awesome moment there.
Yeah.
All right, so Julia, what I'm going to have you do is just take this just like a caulk gun.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is just squeeze right from here down.
All right.
Okay. So she's putting in that silicone, like
Keep on squeezing.
hot glue.
Yep. So
There it
essentially what it
comes.
does is it mixes and extrudes out of the tip of the Accutrans onto the impression.
Okay.
And then eventually, does that cool and peel off?
So what that'll do is it'll harden. It turns almost into a silly putty-like residue
Yeah.
that's left.
Cool.
Right?
So
And then what we'll do is we'll have you just kind of press it and lift it off, and then we'll do the same thing with those prints over there.
Oh,
Very
okay.
cool.
Yeah, as
right, I'll
you're
move this
doing
over.
that, I'll let Julia finish that up. The goal of the program in terms of what you want students to experience is you're giving them real hands-on experience because you want them to know what doing this type of job is actually like so that they can consider it as a future opportunity for employment.
Correct. It's a great opportunity for kids to get hands-on experiences as far as working with evidence response teams, a little bit of defensive tactics, a little bit of firearms, light material, almost like a simulation material. So
This
it gives
is
them a little
so
bit of background on it.
darn cool. So the application deadline again is this Friday, April 5th. The camp then, the overnight for FLEYA is July 8th through the 12th. You can learn more by going to FBI.gov/Milwaukee. Can we apply or is this students only?
I think we might be able to get you in. There might be an exception to the
Yeah,
to
I'd
the
be
requirements,
totally
so
into that.
Because some
I think
days
it's
I wonder who
fascinating.
moves our stuff and I'm going to fingerprint it.
There you go.
Find out.
That'll be great.
I think it's Ben. That's what I think.
Good. So if
yeah.
you'd like to, we got this. We have this sample that is complete.
Oh,
Julia,
it
if
already
you wanna
came off.
Take
Can
a
I
look
pick
at that.
it up?
Yes, please
Okay.
do.
Oh, now there's new fingerprints on it.
That's so cool.
Ruin the evidence.
Oh, yeah, I probably.
Guess what? It's
I
a
don't have
screw.
glove. That is so cool.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, all of you. We appreciate your
What
time
a cool
today.
program you have.
Thank you.
Really
Seriously.
neat.
Love
Thanks,
it.
Julia. Way to go.